Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fraser 1515 Gaming. We are in episode 13 of our NHL 20 LA Kings franchise mode rebuild series here on our YouTube channel. We are currently just finished season 3, where we lost in the first round in Game 7, albeit, to the Anaheim Ducks, who ended up going on and eventually getting put out, and Pittsburgh Penguins are our Stanley Cup champions for this season. So if we want to go back in and just take a peek, see if we won any of the hardware. I don't expect us to have won any, but it'll be interesting to see nonetheless. So, individual awards. So the only one I'm thinking we're going to get is the Calder Trophy. I think the Calder Trophy should be ours. So McKinnon, James Norris goes to Carlson, Lady Byng goes to Sagan, and just like I expected, Telquist gets the Calder Memorial Trophy. So see if we get anybody else in here. It's not looking like we are going to. So Ryan O'Reilly's just cleaning up on that. And I didn't realize Anze Kopitar got the the Selk Trophy last year, so that's good for him. But we are almost at the draft here, and I don't think that we have any chance at winning the lottery, but let's just check to see where all of our picks are, because we currently have 3 first-round picks for this upcoming draft. So with our first-round pick is going to be Buffalo's, who is looking like it's going to be at the very end of the draft, or end of the first round. Florida's, which I'm not sure if that is a playoff or a lottery pick or not, but chances of it actually moving up into be a top 3 pick is probably pretty slim. And our own pick, which is looking like it's going to be in the mid-20s. So if we want to simulate up until the draft lottery and see who's the big winners, who's the big losers from that, and then we will get into the draft. So we were in the draft lottery. However, we had the worst chance, and we stayed at spot 15. Winnipeg moves from spot 6 all the way up to 1, and Detroit moves from 11 to 3. So they're the big winners of the draft lottery, with the top 5 being Winnipeg, Minnesota, Detroit, Vancouver, and lastly Vegas, who acquired this pick through a trade with Tampa Bay. So if we want to go and just take a peek at who is going to be available to us at spot 15, or who should be available to us at about spot 15, it's looking like we may be able to acquire a Landon McCollum around there. I'd probably prefer, I'd probably prefer him as opposed to Vladimir Vishnevsky. However, that could be to see who's available. But I think my first choice, if we had, let's go with Landon McCollum if he's there. However, who else do we got here? Greer looks kind of interesting. He looks like he's a goal scorer. That's something else I was noticing, is that a good chunk of the players that we have are currently two-way forwards. So I think we maybe should try and diversify our player types a little bit more. So if we can do that by acquiring maybe some playmakers, snipers, even I think there's a grinder a little farther on down in the draft that I'm definitely interested in maybe taking a flyer on. Our other first round pick is looking like it is going to be around 27, where Matthew Semenoff, who could be a low elite, but again, tremendous player, 1 year out, depending on stat growth. So I probably will take the risk, seeing that I do have multiple first round picks. And with the other one, we might have to take a flyer on this guy, because at worst he's probably going to be a top 9. But I'm also really liking how this guy was looking here. So he's only a top 9 or medium top 9 potential, but he is 6'5". He put up a significant amount of points as a 17-year-old in the U.S. program, and his strengths are defensive zone play, shot blocking, and reach. So to me, when I look at this player screams Freddie Gauthier to me, who's a very solid bottom 6 player for the Leafs right now. But are we currently in a position where we want to be spending a first round pick on a bottom 6 player? So I'll probably have to do some self-reflection on that in the next 5 minutes and see really where we're at. But our draft board is also still filled with plenty of players that look like they have potential, or that we've uncovered that should be able to, provide a little bit of value for us. If nothing else, maybe we can trade out of the draft position and pick up future picks that have more value, similar to what we did with Krill Stetkloff. So I'm just going to take a quick peek through here to see if there's anybody that we recently uncovered that maybe we should be looking at adding to our watch list. And it doesn't look like there's any there, nor is there any here. And I've sort of ignored the really the top, 13 picks in the central scouting rankings, just because we don't have any real opportunity to go up and get them. And I think if we were to trade up, the value that we would be returning would not really match what we would be getting back. So with these two guys here, I think, they're going to be eligible for the draft next year, and this Cristiano Kang, as well as this Kirill Solyov guy, will be going to free agency. So we will have a chance to get him if it so happens that he is a medium elite. However, I would be extremely shocked, seeing as that he's currently mocked to be about almost the 800th player taken in the draft. So I think what we're going to do now is we'll just go right up to the draft, and we will get into that and see how our team makes out. So, did we have anybody that retired? I can't imagine. Our oldest player right now is currently Anze Kopitar, and he's only 35, and he's still playing I guess you'd say a vital role. And I just want to check and see if Jeff Carter retired. So he did not. So the Washington Capitals will be getting another year of Jeff Carter, assuming that they re-sign him. So Brent Burns and Travis Zajac are both going to be either coaches or scouts in this next upcoming year. And it doesn't look like we lost any of our coaches to retirement. So pre-draft interviews, let's go and see. I think there are probably a few players. Let's check to see who we have pinned here. If there's anybody that we should be looking at to see if maybe they would be a better option. So I think one of the guys that we're going to be looking at is this Thomas Stromberg. Just seeing as that he could potentially be a medium elite. I think it's worth. What did I just do? All right, I guess we are not doing that anymore. Whoops. Oh, wait, no, I can get back into it here. Perfect. So let's figure out how we actually get into the interview with him. Stromberg. So let's go select interview player. So perfect. So we want to basically figure out about his new topic. We don't want to learn about that stuff. Maybe under play style, the potential, readiness. So this will be a determining factor of how quick he's going to be able to come over and play with us in the NHL. So he thinks he's going to be 3 years. So I'd also like to look at his skills and his weaknesses, just so we can get that a little bit more under pressure. So his skating is his skill, which is good, because skating seems to be one of the things that is hardest to train up. So I think Thomas Stromberg, this really just solidified the fact that I'm probably going to take him with one of my first round picks. Definitely I think he's going to be at least hopefully be nice if he was a top 6, but medium elite would be nice, and worst case scenario, he is a top 9 player. So another player, who else do we want to take a peek at here? Let's go and look at this guy, Norm Fowler, 20 years old. Or we could go Per Jorgensen. Who would I prefer? Maybe I opt for somebody else down a little lower. Actually, at that point in time in the draft, we may as well take a flyer. Let's try and scout these two guys, see who is going to be possibly a better pick. So we're just going to ask the same 3 questions again about how ready they all are, their strengths and their weaknesses. So Per Jorgensen thinks that he's about 4 years away from being ready, with his strength being shots his best asset. So I'm still getting used to this new interview system, and I wish it would give you a little bit more, but what can you do? And the other player we are looking to interview is Norm Fowler. So 3 years away. That's not bad considering he's already 20. So his shot is his best asset. So once again, we're getting two probably very similar players in the draft here. So maybe we'll be able to get at least one of them. We'll see. So as we go into the draft, let's see. First round pick is going to be first round pick. They are looking to trade, but I'm not looking to trade. So they go with Reed, a 80 overall power forward. Minnesota selects Serge Renault out of Gatineau. G. May from the Extra League goes to Detroit. So far, it doesn't look like there's any real reaches or anything like that. Who's going to be going at pick 6? Shane Wright. Some of the stats he puts up is just absolutely gaudy. I think he broke some of like McDavid's records not that long ago. So Robert Nordstrom goes to Chicago at pick 7, which seems to be quite the steal. So this draft is very deep in centers. So Jeremy Langlois is a little bit maybe of a stretch, but it's also looking like we should be getting a pretty solid player here. So Charlie Leddy goes to Montreal at pick number 12. Guy Gervais goes at pick 13. And let's just see who's left on the board here for New Jersey. And so on the bright side, we'll be getting either one of Ante Lume or Landon McCollum, or we could also go with the defenseman of Vladimir Vishnevsky. So we will get at least one of those 3 players. They went with James Ennis, or is it James? Jonas Ennis, where did he play that he put up those numbers? Wow. So he looks like he's probably going to be a sure thing, but also only medium top 9. That is not that great. So if we are looking to go and make our pick, are we wanting to go for more of a project player in Ante Lume, who looks like he's about 3 years ready from being in the NHL, or do we want to go with Landon McCollum, who would have played with Quentin Byfield back in Sudbury and has also put up quite the statistics. So even as a rookie, he was putting up stats, but this year he really took that step forward. And looks like he is definitely, not definitely, but should be able to contribute to the NHL within the next, I'd say, this NHL ETA says a year, but I like to, by this point in time, probably have a decent amount of players already available, and he should be probably spending a year in the system. Or we could go Rory Gisbers, who looks like an all-around, I guess he's mocked to be Sean Couturier, so that's definitely not a bad player to be compared to. Or do we want to go with Vladimir Vishnevsky? So with the amount of defensemen that we currently have in our system, I think we should probably go with Landon McCollum here and just kind of take our chances and hope that he's a medium elite. So he's only a medium top 6. However, that is kind of what I was expecting anyways. So I think we definitely picked the better player, and especially for what our needs are going to be. So Vishnevsky was an even better at 76 overall, but I don't think that really fit the needs of what we were looking to acquire. So as we keep going, our next pick is at 25 here. it doesn't look like we really whiffed on anybody big, which is nice to see as a GM. You never want to be the guy who misses out on a stud of a player. So, 25th overall pick. Who do we want, or who do we have available to us here? So we could go Jack Brathwaite, who, judging by those statistics, looks like he's probably going to be like a two-way guy or even possibly a defensive defenseman. But if he was a defensive defenseman, I would expect that his PIMS would be a little bit higher. We also have this low elite guy, Matthew Semenoff, who really put up quite a bit of points in Camp Loose this year. So I'm kind of looking at him because I think we could probably get a defenseman a little later on. Or, well, our defense is kind of stacked, but I do think there will be defense. And whereas there is no Shore medium elite, I think this is definitely going to be our best option. So Matthew Semenoff will be our selection. So he ends up being a 77 overall low elite playmaker. So let's take a just quick peek at his ratings. His puck skills are definitely NHL ready, as is his shot. 96 wrist shot power is quite something. His skating is definitely above average, and he probably could use a little bit of work on his defensive awareness, but definitely a player that we can work with going forward. So if we sim this pick, what just happened there? Is it our time to make another select? Oh wow, it is. We get to make another selection right here. So with this selection at pick 27, let's just see where our next pick is. So I get a FaceTime call. I'm going to have to ignore that for the time being. Let's view the draft class and see how much farther down, because we could go with Stromberg, but I'm also looking at picking up a defenseman in the first round, and Jack Brathwaite is still there, and it's kind of screaming my name, but this player here, where is he? Samu Leitinen looks like he's a hidden gem, so I'm kind of wanting to trust my scouts gut instinct here and go with him. So I think that's what I'm going to do as we walk up to the podium to select Samu Leitinen from the Finland League. So he's a medium top six, 63 overall, which is probably, well, hopefully going to be better than what our other options were. So Brathwaite wouldn't have been bad, but I don't know, if we have our scouts telling us that we should be taking, that this guy's kind of like a diamond in the rough, I'm going to want to take their word, because hopefully it'll encourage them to find better players later on in the draft for us, where it really matters. So let's just do a quick sim up to pick 46, where we have our next selection, and see if we missed anybody. So we knew that close was going to be a low elite, but I guess I just opted to go in a different direction. So it doesn't look like we really missed out on anybody too bad. I was kind of hoping Svitov would have been there for us. Let's take this pick and see who's here. I'd really like to go with a defenseman here, if we could find one that is guaranteed to be a top four. So we have these two guys down here that could be a top four defense, but they're also low top four defense. So we have Frederick Mui and Stephen Flynn. One's 6'2", but we also have a pick around there that we can probably use to take them. So I think what I'm going to do is select Gene Vernarski, despite him being a 20-year-old, and just kind of hope for the best here. Ready? So this is kind of a... Actually, no, I can't risk that. I don't think he's actually going to be that good. I feel like he's only going to be a top 9. So I think I am going to do a little bit of a reach and go with Stephen Flynn here. Hopefully this doesn't come back to bite me. So let's see. Yes, he was only a top 9, so I'm kind of glad that I made that decision to not take him. I would have been probably disappointed with that result. But, well, as we go to pick 56, so Mouillet has been taken. And who do we have still available on the board? So we could go with Felipe Woods, who's probably more likely than that other 20-year-old to be a top 6 just because he has that gem logo on him. So I think he's going to be our selection for the 56th overall pick. And he did end up turning to be a top 6. So props to our scout for doing that, or finding him. And with we also have the last selection in the second round pick. And let's see if we missed out on anybody here. It's not looking like, oops, I was a little too far. So we knew that he was going to be a low top 6, but I figured with the picks that we already selected that we could probably pass over on him. So, the very last pick of the second round, who are we going to go with? Pat Legwand is an option. It looks like he'll be ready in about 4 years. Or we could go with the 6'5" defenseman here, Trenton James, and hope that he can be a shutdown defenseman for us. Is there anybody else here, though, that piques my interest? Emilio Leish, he's kind of interesting, but I think we also have 3 other picks in the first round that we can go after. So I think I'm going to go with Trenton James and hope for the best. So I see this video is kind of approaching on 22 minutes here now, so I think I'm going to really try and grind through the next little bit here, and hopefully we can keep this video under half an hour. So Janes looks not bad. Our next selection, Boychuk, is there as a 19-year-old defenseman. Doesn't look great. We also have Purge Gorgensen and Norm Fowler. There's another 20-year-old, but I really like that shot. I'm going to take the flyer on Norm Fowler, and hopefully he turns out to be something. So low top 9, that's less than ideal. Let's just quickly see if we missed on anybody here. It's not looking like it. That goaltender looked pretty good, but so Gorgensen did get drafted, but he was only a low top 9, so we didn't miss out on too much there, I suppose. So let's see here. Who do we have available to us? So Vitaly Kozlov, I have him pinned. And is there anybody else? Not really. So I guess Vitaly Kozlov will be our selection, and just hopefully he turns out to be a low top 4. And he was not a low top 7, so that's kind of coming back to bite me, but you never know. These offensive defensemen, sometimes their offensive awareness or their passing or their shooting really develops quite well to the point where it's worth keeping them in the lineup. So I think once again, we're just going to continue the trend here and shoot for the moon. The 6'8" could be a low elite goaltender out of Winnipeg. So he was a low elite, which is nice. What overall is he? 65 overall. So that's a really good selection there at the end of the third round for us. He's going to add to our goaltending depth that we already have in the system, and maybe that'll allow us to trade out of maybe Lucas Parikh. So we have 2 picks back to back here in the 4th round. I think we should be having one of those that other goaltender available to us. So Laurent Fleury, we are going to select him with this pick. And we knew he was going to be a low overall, but medium starter, nothing less. So maybe there will be some trade value there. With our other pick, we are going to go. What is this guy looking like? Not great. Is there anybody here that we have pinned? Do we have anybody pinned left? So we're at 118. So the highest player that we have will be the goaltender. I can't go goaltender. I just don't think that's going to be realistic to go back to back on goaltender. But we're going to take Ty Spencer out of Kamloops. So we'll get his running, or our first round picks running mate, but he only turns out to be a 60 overall, which is still pretty good, but where he's only an AHL top 6, that's sort of disappointing. And who do we have remaining to draft? So a lot of those players that we had pinned have already been taken. So let's go with, it'd be nice if he turned out to be a medium elite, but I think we should have another pick before that. So let's go with the goaltender, and hopefully he's another medium elite that we can capitalize on. So he's only a medium starter, so that's kind of disappointing. And that, I guess, is our end of our selections. So let's just sim out of the draft, and I guess I'm going to leave the video here. So in the next video, we'll be doing contract re-signing and free agency. So until next time, be sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button. And this is Fraser1515 signing out until next time. Peace.